Live.
Good morning and welcome to DualiTEA.
Hey.
I'm here, your host, Akasha, and I'm with Jahtiek. Welcome.
Hi, y'all could call me Ja.
And we are here today to talk about 2020 and have a recap on what 2020 has been for us and collectively and all things like that. Right?
Word. Yo, I'm excited. It's been wild. I'm sorry, y'all. I just took like this wild shot, this immuno shot. And it felt like a shot.
So I brought
alcohol shot.
Okay,
but,
so what happened was prior to this, we're back in the studio and we are
Hi, Meg.
doing a good morning, and we are doing, we're coming back to what I'm sorry, I said words. Let me just recalibrate for a second. Okay, so I came to the studio and I was like, you know what? We're back in the studio. Let me bring some ginger shots, right? So I made like a ginger shot type concoction. So I just juiced fresh ginger this morning, and I put a little bit of apple cider vinegar, a little bit of honey, a little bit of turmeric, you know what I'm saying? Maybe a pinch of cayenne, maybe a little pinch, not too crazy, but
It was good.
It was good, but
It was very intense.
It is intense, but I feel like a lot of good things are intense.
No, I feel it activated within my body, you know?
For sure.
I got my superpowers on the 21st, and I just feel it activating even more so.
That's what it's for. That's what it's for. It's just to continue to activate that in a good way.
You know, some people have no idea what that meme is, what I'm talking about right now.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny.
I feel like that. I thought that was something that was on. So on the 21st, we'll hop into that.
Yeah.
21st, we'll talk about the conjunction real quick. This year has been interesting as far as how I've been feeling about gathering information has been a little bit different than in other years where it's been more like instead of going to all of these sources and taking everything word for word verbatim, I've been understanding and gathering a little bit and skimming through a little bit of things and then sitting with myself and seeing what resonates.
Word.
So what I'm about to say is a kind of a collection of that. So the Great Conjunction, meaning Jupiter and Saturn's alignment being at a very small degree and joining together to make a Christmas star, something that hasn't happened in a long time and something that won't happen in a very long time in the future. Is all about, if you think about Jupiter, you think about expansive energy. It's one of the biggest planets. It's very abundant energy. If you think about the zodiac Sagittarius, that is very expansive and fun and kind of abundant. That's kind of Jupiter's energy. And if you think of Saturn, you could think of Capricorn, very disciplined, very structured, and things that having to deal with karma, things having to deal with ancestral things, and them coming together was this expansive as well as this clean slate thing that happened where it was okay, we're going to just clear the field for everything that's been going on for a long time, and we're going to kind of make room for what it is that you want to bring forth.
Did you say the last time this happened was 400 years ago or something like that?
It was something crazy. It was even longer than that. It was I don't remember, but a long time, thousands of years, if not.
Just think about how different
hundreds.
the world was, for the last time that happened,
Yeah. It's so interesting when these different star alignments and planetary alignments happen, how we get to reflect when it gives us a date. Wow, what was going on the last time this happened, and a lot of different things that were happening was the dark ages were also happening and we got out of the dark ages, and there's a lot of hopefulness in this, in this transition. 2020 has been a year full of interesting, revealing events that have been in interpersonal situations, everything, every aspect, personally, globally, in all ways.
So are you saying that 2020 was a year of insight?
Absolutely. I believe that it was definitely it was the neck roll for me. I believe that 2020 was definitely filled with a lot of insight revealing. Not all of it was nice, you know what I'm saying? Not all of it was pretty, but it was certainly a lot of different things. You know, I feel like most importantly, we all experienced something that we've never experienced before, a global pandemic. And in that, we got to really see how we show up for ourselves, who shows up for us, and vice versa, and who we show up for. And I believe that was just very telling of a lot of different things in a comfortable way, but also like a good way, you know, because you got to see what was real and what didn't falter.
Oh wow, yeah, that brings me to something that like I feel like you would say you say this a lot during earlier the years, just like what is real cannot be threatened, and if it could be threatened, it is not real. You know, so
that was like I was yelling that nonstop for
Yeah.
a while because it was like I get into this mode where I have to like affirm things to myself, and if I don't affirm things to myself, I kind of get like in my head mentally.
That actually makes me think about something, right? Because I had somebody say something to me, something sort of this to me a while ago. It's like I think sometimes people undervalue and underestimate the power of mantras.
Yeah.
Sometimes people think that they're just like sayings, but it's like no. If you have different mantras that you
it's
can
like a repetitive thing. Like it's like when you it's like a it's a kind of like a created tick that's happened. Like instead of I've turned it positive. Like I had it always where I would be like where I would get into an obsessive loop in my head where it would be like whether it was negative, whatever it was, whatever I was thinking about when I couldn't get it out, right?
Think of it this way, right? What's the difference between having different mantras is kind of like and a mantra is just something that's repeated, right? Is that not what prayers are?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like I think sometimes like
it's just like a short prayer. It's like a word.
Exactly.
Or like a saying.
So it's like, you know, I think sometimes people forget how like, you know, those things are interconnected and how it's like, yo, bro, what gives you the power and the strength, you know?
That's the thing about words. It's like the attachments to words and the origins of where they're from. It's like you can use them for them to be like super fueled and in a really good way. And then also like, but if it doesn't resonate, if you say a specific word and that person's like, oh, I don't know about Hinduism, so I don't know about mantras, and I don't know about, so it's like an immediate resistance. So I invite anybody that has a resistance to a word to maybe look up different, what is it? When it's like another word that's like
synonyms?
the same. Yes.
Yeah. Like, cause I had somebody say to me a while back, and I was going through some stuff. It's like, yeah, enough of the sayings. Like, you know, be the real you. And it's like, and that just clicked for me just now. It's just like, yeah, it definitely has certain like phrases I would say, but it's also like different mantras, different ways of being that came attached to it. But I don't know, like you know what can be, what is real cannot be threatened. It's just like there's a reason why certain things resonate. You know, and why we hold on to that information and why we hold on to certain phrases, because it's different ways of being, and different reminders, you know, that confirmation.
Without a doubt. And it's like, and it's also important to pay attention to what doesn't resonate, because it's not resonating for a reason. And whether you choose to dive into that is up to you. You know, it's like if that's something you want to kind of explore. You know, I think it's really good growth space to explore those areas as well. But yeah, you know, 2020 has been really interesting. You know, so many layers. We've lived years in this 1 year.
Yeah.
You know, so many different stages and personal growth. You know, I feel like this year has been a clean sweep of a lot of people in my life. For real. But also like a big activation of who is like really on the same kind of wave. You know, like it's like we don't have to be doing the same things, but if you're pursuing and continually growing and wanting to develop yourself and that personal growth, I feel like that alignment has been kind of where I'm at universally with the people that I do spend time with.
Being on that frequency.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Shout out to Cuddy. You know
Yes, yes, indeed.
it was only a matter of time before we brought him up.
Yeah, you need those vibes. You need those vibes. And no, I feel that. I think that like definitely cleared like different energy out of my life this year, and like I also feel like invited a new energy in, because it's crazy, because I feel like I've met a whole lot of new people that I didn't know previously, that like and didn't know at all like last year, and it's like I don't know how I would have met them if it wasn't for this year, which is also strange to think about too, you know.
It is strange because it's just like the certain events that have happened. Like, it's like as much as we were isolated and alone, and then there were certain events that we did come together.
We were alone together.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, that was a lot of, I feel like that was a lot of our interactions personally this year. It's like we were alone, but we were alone together. We were like self-reflecting and like bouncing off, and I'm very grateful for that and for, you know, our friendship and how that's developed within this year. It just brought a lot of clarity and things, and you know, it's so beautiful to see like the different transitions in friendships and the growth within them. Like, there's just so many levels. I feel like the people that are in my life now are like very just like foundational, sturdy people that are very sure of themselves, because they're doing that work to be sure of themselves as well as who they want in their energy. And that is okay if you don't want to always be around people too, especially in this year, especially given everything that's going on. It's like, it's okay to just want to be home. It's okay to say no to that event. It's okay to like really just do the things that you feel you need to do first before anything else. And I feel like boundaries is something that came up big in this year, where it's like, all right, give me my 6 feet, but also like give me my energetic 6 feet. Also, like, you know what? I'm not that accessible to everybody. Also, you know what? I'm going to take some time off this. You know, I'm going to take some time off that. Like, and it's just like asserting those, and like to yourself, most of all, like showing up and being like, you know what? I'm not okay with this anymore. I'm going to like make sure that I uphold this boundary. You know, for me and for this person, because if I cave on this boundary, then that's also enabling them to continue the same like bullshit that they've been doing, you know? So it's like, if you're not accepting that in your reality, you keep that universal and you don't make exceptions for nobody. And I feel like that's like a really beautiful kind of growth period I've seen a lot of people tune into. You know, like shout out to all the people that got out of toxic situations or like toxic relationships and everything. You know, I know a person really close to me that just stepped out of a toxic relationship, and I'm so proud of her with all of my heart, and she knows who she is. And like all and also like besides all of that, it's too like just making it through this year is an accomplishment within itself.
Yeah.
Like right now we're at the end of the year where everybody is going to be talking about like all the things they did and all this stuff, and like, yeah, like, you know, if you didn't necessarily get everything you set out to get done in 2020, like, please don't beat yourself up.
Do you think they're going to have I Survived 2020 shirts?
They should. You know, there's going to be like...
Hey, yo, no one take that. Yeah.
It's like, I feel like there's...
No, but not for real. On the real note.
There's going to be like those compensation commercials.
Oh, jeez.
In the future. Like, if you were working as an essential worker in 2020...
I was just talking about this with somebody yesterday, though. On the real, as much as I kid and I joke, the fact that you're like, you know, if you're living and you're breathing, it's the end of this year, celebrate that. Be gentle with yourself, because this year isn't normal. And it's like, I feel like, I was talking to someone about this yesterday, because like the last 2 weeks, the winter is already like, you know, intense winter energy. But I feel like you feel the end of this year even more so, because it's been such a long year. It's been exhausting. It's been an exhausting year, like just energetically with everything that was going on. So it's like, yo, be gentle with yourself over these next 2 weeks, and just like, you know, do whatever you need to surrender for you, because rest is important. And it's just been a tough year, and like I think people just need a reminder of that, because it's like end of year energy is always just like, oh well, let's do a recap, and then
It could be
it's
mad
like,
anxiety. Like, it's
Yeah.
like, wait, oh my God, what do you mean? I have another thing to make me feel like I didn't do enough? Are you like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's just like, don't allow yourself to fall into that space. And how you can prevent that is by being compassionate with yourself. Like, just being like, yo, like, I'm here. Like you said, I'm
Yeah.
breathing, I'm standing, I'm
That's the thing
I'm
I'm most
alive,
grateful
like-
for. I'm grateful to be alive, yo.
for real.
You know, like it's and like let's just take a moment to like really acknowledge like, you know, the loss this year, and like rest in
Yeah.
peace to those who like, you know, are deceased. Like it's
Yeah.
been a very tough year for some people. Like
Mm-hmm.
we have people who pass, and then like, you know, just really honor those people, take that space, you know, and acknowledge that the loss that has occurred this year.
Yeah.
Word, Megan. Word, Meg.
Yeah, sending love to anyone who is affected by anything of the events of this year, you know, and it's like there's so many different things that have happened. Like suicide has skyrocketed, relapses have skyrocketed, you know, even more so than deaths from COVID and from illnesses. And this year has been the biggest detriment to our mental, like our mental state, our mental health, you know, and it's so important that we prioritize how we go about, you know, speaking on that, addressing it.
Self-care, yo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like people, I think that this is one of the big things that came out of this year too. Is like, especially I'll say earlier in the quarantine, is realizing like connecting with self and realizing what serves you, like, and like what does self-care really look like? You know, when it's just you, or just you, the people that are around you. You know, because like we fill up a lot of voids. And sometimes we get addicted to situations, we get addicted to people. And I think that like a lot of this year, what made it hard too is that people are going through different types of withdrawals, you know, and
Yeah.
like, you know, because it takes like, what is it, 3 months or so for something to become a pattern. For something to become a pattern, something to become a habit. And just look at like, you know, the beginning of like, you know, everything that was happening this year. And how, like, as the spring and, like, you know, summer came, there were people that just tried to normalize everything, like, just bypass. Like, you know, bypassing was really one of the big things I noticed this year. It's just, like, how people could just bypass things so hard. Like things is normal. It's just like, yo, man, you see that fire in the corner? We just ignore it.
It's like that meme that's like that little dog that's like
Yeah.
everything is fine. You
Oh
know
my-
what I mean?
yeah.
And it's like, it's okay for things not to be fine. Like
Yeah.
it's okay the fact that like we're not comfortable with wearing masks but still choosing to wear them because that's what we feel comfortable with or what's required in certain spaces. You know, it's okay to be like what is this? Like
Yeah.
what is going on? It's okay to question these things. It's okay to question
Yeah.
what is happening, okay, and not allow yourself to just be compliant, complicit with anything
Word,
that
man.
is being thrust upon us, you know, and to actually have our individual mind and our collective mind, and to know what's good for our mental health, our emotional health, our spiritual health, our physical health, and to take control of that too, in the sense of like what it is that we're feeding ourselves, and not just listening to anyone and everything. Because like most importantly, we need to listen to ourselves. If everyone is sitting here barking at us and telling us, okay, well, this is really good for you, and that's really good for you, and that's gonna cure this, and this is gonna help that, but you don't feel like that's the case, listen to yourself.
Yeah.
Listen to yourself and really like tune into where that's coming from, because nobody's gonna know what you should do more than you. So listen to that.
Oh, word. Like, you know, y'all gotta listen to y'all intuition, fam. Intuition be out here, be guiding you. And that'd be like that. And like part of that, if like some people listen to what's true to you and listen to your intuition, because chances are you're going to have some results that, you know, really align to what you actually care about.
Absolutely.
You know? But on on like one of the things I was just thinking about, it's just like one of the like illustrations of like the duality of like 2020 and like just bypassing was like bypassing issues. I remember I was in the city taking photos. Yeah, yeah, I had to think. Yeah, I was in the city taking photos, and I was walking in the village, and it was the summertime, and there was outdoor dining, right? And there were protests happening right in the street, and you have people just eating outside on just while protests are going on, and you just saw like the duality of the moment of just like, and like some people just how they were fighting for civil rights, and then other people were just like, yeah, you know, as long as I can eat outside, I'm good. As long as I can, like, you know, and that's a whole like, you know, nuanced thing with itself. But just also like I just remember in the summer, just like there was such a everything is fine mentality. You know what I mean?
It was like either everything is fine or nothing is fine. It was like there was no in between. There's like now there's like an in between because like people have like disassociated enough, and we've gone a little bit further since like major events were going on every day. But it still doesn't stop it from that being the case. Like then was like there was so many different things that were happening, especially throughout the protests, especially throughout that time where there was so many revealings of who's gonna stand up for what it is that they believe in and who's not.
Yeah.
And who's going to just sit down in silence and like look away or like, you know, take their glasses off to a situation, or who's gonna do their part, because it doesn't always mean that you have to be on the front lines in the protest, but like, are you gonna have those conversations when you're at a family gathering, you know, and somebody says something racist? Are you gonna have a conversation with somebody, you know, when things aren't okay, whether it pertains to race or whether it doesn't? No matter what it is, there's so many different factors that came up in 2020 that showed like, all right, well, politics, you know, always a thing. What human rights, you know, like, and just so many different extremes that needed to be addressed. Were they addressed in the best way? Probably not. Could they have been addressed any other way? Clearly not, because they haven't been.
But you know what, right? America is just a country of trauma that needs to understand things in the most traumatic ways possible,
Absolutely.
probably to understand a lesson. You can just see it in our history, you know, from I'll say since the colonization of our country, probably, and where it's just like, yeah, we need to have the most extreme things for us to understand things. Because like when you think about it, look at the rest of the world where they're at. Like, you know, of course, like there's different numbers and stuff going up when it comes down to like the pandemic, but also you see how places handle it differently. You know what I mean? And like one of the craziest things is just like, I think we've seen a lot through this year, selfishness and selflessness. You saw people who really cares for the collective and cares and then like whether it's like the immediate family, the extended family, and then like their neighbors, and then the people who are just like, nah, fuck that, you know, fuck that, because it's just like, it's crazy. It's really wild. It's really wild, you know, because it's like I remember in the beginning of the year, like from March, no, not March, yeah, from March to probably like May. I didn't see my mom. I didn't see my mom for a good period because it was just like, yo, I want to make sure my mom is straight. You can even ask Kenny. I remember Kenny was like, yo, you want to paint something? I was like, nah, man, I ain't coming outside. I ain't seeing nobody. Like, you know, and with it though, there's of course there's levels about comfortability, and you got to figure out what works for you. But there was some people I know that was gallivanting since March, like nothing happened. It was just like, wow, damn.
Yeah.
You know, and that's crazy. That's crazy because it's just like...
it's a disassociation. They get selfishness for self and like not allowing... It's literally disassociation from everything. And it is selfishness, whether it's addressed or not, whether it's meant to or not. The thing is like, you can have a good intention and still not do good things if it's not rooted in purpose. You know, if you have something, if you're like, oh, well, I want to do good because I'm going out to help people, but like it's not rooted in purpose, like, and you actually need to be at home with yourself, like that leaves space for things to kind of get messy too.
Yeah.
So it's like not only check your intention, but check the core purpose, the root cause of why you're doing what you're doing. And everybody handles trauma and shock in different ways. And some are super dangerous and some are super reserved. And, you know, I know like I was the same way. I mean, we were in communication, we know. Yeah. Like me and Jad, walkie-talkies, you know what I mean? Like, we had walkie-talkies during, like, the thick of the pandemic, like, although they didn't fully work. Like,
yeah,
but,
except for that time I had the walkie-talkie at one of the protests, and it's quiet, and then Akasha just decides to...
We had code names. I was calling him Shikamaru.
Yeah, it's quiet. It's quiet, and like, you know, I'm looking like an infiltrator, and you just hear words. I'm like, oh yo, I'm like nah, y'all, some walkie-talkie. Yeah, I look like an op bad.
We were trying to, given at the time there was a lot of craziness. I didn't know what was going on. They were like tracking the phones and stuff. You know, we had a plan. You know, it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, like what I was saying, it was like in the beginning of the pandemic, like I didn't want to be around people either, you know. It's like I was in a house where I had people that, you know, children, elders, and I wanted to make sure I was responsible as well as, like, I didn't want to be outside even. Like, I wanted to be outside in nature. I would go outside in nature.
Same.
Have these little nature experiences with myself. Like, yeah, I would go to the woods. Exactly. Yeah. I would go to the woods by my crib and just, like, yeah. I would go probably listen. I fluctuate. Like I would listen to like Kid Cudi and then also listen to Kid Cudi in the woods with my headphones on, and then like and identify plants and and then like also just like listen to absolutely nothing and just listen to the woods.
Same.
You know, that's I like actually met this like witch in the woods naturally.
Oh yeah,
earlier this year. Remember it was crazy. It was like she looked at me, she's like, I was like, and we were like, all right. You know, we sat by the fire.
I was shooting in the woods.
What happened?
I was shooting in the woods like a lot too.
Yeah.
You know, not like, you know, boom, boom, boom,
but like
you know. And
that's when you found out that Senon's actually the hidden leaf.
Oh yeah, I have a whole Naruto freaking theme shoot.
Absolutely.
Yo, it's so fire. It's so fire. I love that shot. One of the pictures I got from that shoot. Is in black and white, and it just looked like a manga cover.
It's so good. Yeah, it's such a good one. Are you talking about the one with the fist?
No, I love that one. That one's fire. One. But I'm talking about, it's like a black and white one that just looks like straight like a manga cover. Where it's just like, I hear Strong and Strike in the background. But it's like, but it was honestly one of the most healing things like this year was being alone in nature and just being grounded, like, and just like, reconnecting and truly just like grounding myself like that. Yeah, that, especially like in the early days of the freaking of like from March till May. Lord, yeah, that is what saved me. Is like really grounding myself.
Going into the woods and just doing and reconnecting with yourself, which is so important, and I feel like is a major thing and a major key of this year. Is like what brought you back to yourself? You know, like now we talked about what was kind of revealed, right? Now what brought you back to yourself?
Word, I got you. You know what brought me back to myself? Passion, truth, being grounded in what makes me happy, being grounded in what serves me, and like sometimes people like, you know, and it's like that's. Because I know I sometimes have a difficult time with that term, like what serves. But it's like, yo, certain things don't serve to be in our space. It's like, you know, if you need a screwdriver and somebody gives you a wrench, like it don't serve you. You know, it's not meant for that. It doesn't align. And just really reconnecting with my art, like, you know, because that's really the truest part of myself. And I forgot how disconnected I was from it, and like from being disconnected from my craft was me being disconnected from one of the most authentic parts of myself. Like being like for a long time, drawing and painting was my primary medium, and like it's been so hard for me to get back into that, like, you know, and I just had a moment where I realized like that, you know, just practice photography, you know, and like let me practice and like my medium may look different for right now, and let me not be so hard on myself as long as I'm creating, because I would say that a lot. But like, you know, sometimes when you say something and you don't really mean it, you want to mean it, but it's like,
But you're not fully there yet.
You're not fully there yet,
Absolutely.
you know? And so like, I feel like I got there with like just expressing myself. And that's what really connected me to self, was just like, ooh, nice. What connected me to self a lot this year was just reconnecting with my passions, and like, you know, also being open to yes please, discovering that.
Pours tea live on the set.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Pip pip cheerio. But being open to rediscover myself, because like, you know, for me this was the first year that I've been like, you know, by myself in a long time, you know, so who I really had like an identity thing, like who am I? Who am I being?
If you didn't have an identity thing in
Already?
2020, do you have a pulse?
No, I feel that,
Like,
but I also mean in the aspect of feeling like whether you craft parts of your identity when you are in a relationship, you know, like, and by that I don't mean like there's a different level. There's like the idea of being dependent on in something. I don't know how to really.
I know exactly.
You know what I
you
mean? It's like I don't know how to describe
when
it.
you're with someone. It's so hard to articulate, but I know exactly what you're talking about. It's learning who you are completely. Oh, that's the catalyst to what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Learning who you are completely on your own, learning what your own energy is, separate from anyone, not only relationships, but friendships, family members, everything, like anything that you've relied on or had attachments to validate yourself.
Yeah.
Understanding what it's like to not have that, and then being the catalyst to validate yourself.
Yeah.
Really know who you are in that kind of identity, like your purest identity, like to a core of who you are, because your identity, it doesn't ever like fully change naturally, but like it does adapt, it grows, it changes a little bit. It's like the foundation will stay the same, but
yeah. And so like with it was like, you know, I feel like with it, and the reason I say that is just like because with being real, like, you know, like, and authentic about one of the biggest catalysts for staying grounded and shifting, and like why I was able to like dig into those deeps for me is like, bro, it was a different level of being with myself in a way that I haven't been with myself for a long time. And I'm sure other people feel that way as well. To have like, you know, go through the beginning stages, like coming out of something, whether it was turbulent or not, and then shift it, it's a shift.
Yeah.
It was already a shift in life, but to have a shift where it's like having different dynamics like go through a new form, and then have the world shift as well when when like mentally wasn't there yet to be shifting the way that the world was shifting. It was like, oh shit, who am I? Word, yo, this is like, but just I need a reminder though too, because the thing is like, you know, the term sin, and like, you know, like archery means to miss the mark, right? You sometimes sinning is just forgetting exactly who the fuck you are. Yeah. You know, and like having that reminder.
Okay.
All right, yeah,
it's
word.
An explicit show.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't. Yeah.
I heard the hesitation. I'm like, you go, you curse if you need to.
Yeah. So it's just like really reconnect and like that reminder. I think you can only really remember who you are when you are with yourself, and you take the time to truly connect with who you are today, you know, and who you are in this moment. Because sometimes, like, I think one of the biggest things too is grieving what was, and mourning
what you were,
and
also morphing to what people want you to be.
Fuck that.
So like, absolutely fuck that, because it's like it's a survival technique that we've accumulated over the years, that we've had like these different
I look like an elf. You see the airs? Just a guy, you want some tea? DualiTEA.
Oh my God, just breathe my mask in. Oh my 2020 problem.
I'm sorry.
It's like I'm like blowing my bang up. But yeah, not conforming to what not fitting in the box that people try to put you in. You know?
Or the box that you crafted for yourself that are expectations.
To be liked, to be wanted, to be desired. And that's what this year really did.
Yeah.
Especially if you took time off social media. Because the thing is...
That was me in February.
The thing is, right, like when you have this like separation to people, okay, that's one thing. But then if you have that attachment in social media... Now there's certain things and experiences that you're still getting validation from. I highly recommend people to like, if you haven't already, detox. I highly recommend to detox, social media detox, parasite cleanse, detox, like, you know, and do the things that, like refresh your mind, body, and soul. Like, you know, like when you detox from social media, you know, you get to see...
That shit hit different.
Yo, it really does, because you're like, wow, I distract myself OD on here.
Yeah.
It could be something that could be a catalyst and useful tool, you know what I'm saying, to promote the things that you want to amplify your voice and do things like that. Absolutely. It could be a creative experience, all these different things. But let's be real.
Yeah.
Are we doing that the entire time that we're on? Or are we like filling up 50% of that time? I'm being nice. 50% of that time... with just scrolling and distracting. You know, I'm not saying that. You know, I'm saying that the world. I'm saying that every single person.
I feel so triggered.
Yeah, no, because it's real.
It's real.
It's real.
Yo,
I'm I got
talking to you,
phone.
Instagram.
I got a flip phone, okay? So that I don't have to do that. You understand what I'm saying? Like this is real, okay? I know where I'm at in my life.
Why you got that flip phone?
I got the flip phone so I could have discipline, okay?
Is that a razor?
I wanted it to be. They didn't let me get one. But yeah, no, I got the reason I got a flip phone wasn't for a sus experience, but it was for it was to bring discipline in my life. So I have my SIM card that goes into, you know, this phone throughout the day, and when I am done doing what I need to do, I switch out that so that I can, like, this is like just for like, if you need me to call me, if it's like a family, close friend, whatever it is, if you need me, you can call me, you can still reach me, but I can't reach social media to distract myself. So that's like where I'm at and what I'm on with the discipline. And, you know, I know Lori just wrote, and she's been super disciplined with that, hasn't been on Instagram and been doing her thing too. And I'm happy that, you know, we're all doing these different things. You can see how it changes people. Like, if you know people, you can see how it affects people in a good way. It's like, I'm sure you found so many different ways to fill your time with more nutritional rich things, you know, whether that's mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. It's just not looking at a phone like a square little world box, like a projection, you know, of what another cyber reality is. Like, you can actually be present in your reality.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Detox.
They ain't ready for that. They ain't ready for that.
Sit with yourself.
Nah, you should.
If you haven't taken the time to sit with, like, this year has literally been like, so what you gonna do when you gotta sit with yourself?
Yeah.
Like, what you got, and then there's still so much distractions that could be had. So it's like, if you have found distractions, I understand.
Hey, yo, punch your demons in the face, man.
I mean, and then
they ain't that bad.
But then give them a hug, because like they were created to protect you at a point.
You ever heard of Scott Pilgrim, right?
Yeah.
So Scott Pilgrim, there's Nega Scott. Like, you know, I said nega just so y'all heard me correctly. So anyway, nah, cause the mask be out here muffling stuff. So
we're gonna have to have like
yeah, some captions and whatnot.
Yeah, you know what I meant.
So basically, at the end of the series, like, you know, it's like, you know, it's seen as his like, you know, like the dark side of him, but his greatest strength and what supports him at the, like, you know, with actually in a comic book, not in a movie. In a comic book, what supports him in actually beating and going further, beating the final boss, and really growing as a character is accepting that he's been running from himself and that he gets to integrate the negativity because it was a part of him and it was a coping mechanism. So like, you should read it. You should read
it's like there's so many different.
You gotta read that.
There's so many different versions of that. You know, like even Lil Wayne said that in the song. He's like, I was running from myself, but guess just who I ran into. That's one of his, right? And then
what is that?
That's
from the Carter 3.
That's the last one. It's been a long time. Stop playing with me.
Stop playing. That's New Wayne?
Yeah, that's New Wayne.
Wow.
And that's Evolved Wayne. That's why he's talking about Itachi too. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
But it's like also in Naruto when he goes to the Fountain of Truth.
Yeah.
Like there's so many different versions of this. Like pay attention. You know, pay attention to what's going on in life because we're talking about shadow integration. Okay? If you can't accept these other facets of yourself, if you try to kill your ego, if you try to murder it, you know, you're just creating an abandonment issue with yourself. Ooh. You know what I mean? So like, nurture, understand your ego, you know, shed the coping mechanisms that no longer serve you, but integrate it, you know? And that's what this year has been, like meeting yourself, meeting your darkest self. Because
you know what people be thinking, and it's like, yo, y'all funny for this? Yo, you gonna work through those issues, right? And new issues just gonna arise, so you might as well handle them. Because it's gonna be, right once you handle your old coping mechanisms, there's gonna be other things you do that cope. There's always, everyone has vices in one way or another, and whether people wanna admit it, like even the most healthiest people have at least one thing that's unhealthy about them. Damn, that's deep. But yeah, for real though, for real. So it's just like, yo, it's okay. It's part of being human. Being human is messy, yo. Life is messy. I don't know if people really understand that at times. It's just like, yo, it's not linear. It's not linear. It's like, this shit don't make sense. So sometimes things won't make sense. Yeah. Bad boy. Hey, yo, 2020 was well, y'all. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be here.
So how do you feel like you found your balance throughout 2020 the most out of everything that
I talked my shit. Nah.
That's good. Listen,
you know what? Yeah. This shit.
Talk your shit. Yeah. That's what it listen, I second that. I committed to this podcast to do it weekly, to talk my shit as well. And to help others to talk their shit. And to, you know, bring in DualiTEA, you know what I'm saying? Yes, like social distance clank, you know? And it's some good tea. I'm not
and this shit is fire. This is really good.
It's called Perfect Energy.
Y'all can't even taste the honey, but this is real honey in here.
What is your, it's local honey too. What is your little tea bag
say? That bee's dope.
What does yours say?
It says, love is the ultimate law of life. Indeed. But on the real, the question that you asked was like, say that one more time, because I didn't mean, I was joking, but also at the same time. What was the last thing you said?
What ultimately brought you balance? Like what ultimately brought you balance when this year happened?
What brought me balance was art. What brought me balance is being creative, healthy habits, doing the inner work, and like actually doing it, and being honest about what I need, what I want, and really creating, and like making new habits, new goals. Like one of my biggest goals that I want some more tea. My mask was down. Not as well. When in Rome, right? But like one of my biggest goals, like this year when I realized it, like since May, I have photos of every month this year, right? And in May, I realized that I capture like just the historic, like, you know, just this year, how wild it is and how like it's a historic moment, whether people really have integrated that or not. It's like, yo, this is crazy. Like, you know, we're alive during this. We're living through history, you know, and it's like sometimes need to like gotta really sit in that. And as a, like, you know, artist, but also, and like as a photographer, I was like, yo, let me keep taking pictures. Let me make sure I have photos of each month, because staying and being practiced in my work this year, I got more involved in the process and I fell in love with the process again. I learned new things about the process, learned new things about myself, and that's my favorite part about creating. And I got to like really experience that again and not like just create for other people. And I mean that in a way where sometimes like I would just like visually, like drawing wise, one of the things that it's like it's easy for me to do and feel motivation for is when I have a commission. That's not a good feeling, because then it makes me feel like I only create for currency, but not creating for me, you know, like for like, you know, that nurturement. So that really kept me grounded, and I hit that goal, and that's like how it like kept me balanced, like, you know, just going out and shooting as much as possible and going and hanging out, being by myself.
Yeah.
For me personally, like, this is excuse me, being by myself. Like, I literally I didn't have anybody to shoot with, and like, you know, that used to be a big thing for me, and I was like, yo, fuck it, I'll have a different subject matter. I'm just gonna go out and walk into the woods. I'm gonna go walk around and just shoot. If anybody, it's okay if no one comes with me, because this is for me.
Yeah.
You know, and I was saying this to my therapist. All of the things that I've ever noticed that when life is working well for me and things are happening and picking up steam is when I'm being the most authentic and truest part of myself, and that is pursuing art. And I can't ignore that. And so like I just know that like
that's beautiful that you found that truth and that it's brought you that balance.
But I always forget it because it's easier to bypass it and to like, you know, just like go into because sometimes it's not the easiest.
No.
It's
but anything that's easy, like anything that is worth having isn't easy.
Yeah.
You know, and it could be easeful where it's like it once you start doing it, it starts to click, but actually getting yourself to do it, it's like, especially when you have that like kind of like fear of success type thing, you know, going on, you know,
damn.
and it's like,
yeah, that's one thing I really sat with that this year. Extremely. Like, shout out to my therapist. I appreciate her. Like, that's something that, like, on the real, like, I brought up multiple times because it's like, it was something I've known, but it was not something I've addressed in a way that's, like, really addressed it. And it's like, yo, I really need to talk about this fear of success thing, because some people in this life are okay. It's failing. It's not the scary part. It's actually proving yourself right. That, wow, you are worth something. Because then it goes into like worthiness issues and probably abandonment and all this deep stem trauma. Handle y'all trauma, y'all. Like,
that's the key to everything.
You know?
So when you understand, when you dive deep into your root and into your roots and understand why you do the things that you do, you can like free yourself from them. If you don't know where the lock is on the chain, how could you ever figure out what key to put into it? You know, it's like you gotta look, you gotta pay attention to yourself. You know, like for me, how I found balance within this year is like just learning to love being with myself, you know, like and not escaping myself while being with myself. It's just really being with myself. Like, what do I want to do when I'm not on social media? What do I want to do when I'm not hanging out with people? What do I want to do when I'm in my house? You know, and then also creating my own space has brought me so much solace. Like, living on my own and, like, creating my own energy and my own space and putting everything in every room, my own intention and purpose to utilizing it and getting back to the things of myself as well. My passions and, you know, not only creating a space to speak and to share my truth, but to amplify others' truth and to tune in with others and connect in a really good way. And then also I'm an esthetician for over 4 years, and to get back into doing aesthetics and to get back into doing Reiki and to doing readings and to all of the stuff that I've been doing for years, and to like allow myself to create a room for that, to create room for that, and to like, you know, once again, not be like overly accessible, but not make it like unaccessible at all. You know, it's like, it's a weird year, you know, to like really start up things, but you know, it's been really flowing exactly the way it's supposed to, and just taking the tangible steps and understanding what it is to create your own business and to treat yourself like you are the CEO of your own business, even if you don't have one yet. Like blocking out time management, valuing time. You know, like, okay, well, I have time and space for this, but I don't for this because I value sleep. I need it to survive. So if I hang out with this person, I'm going to be there until 4 a.m. because we're going to like have a long conversation, whatever the case is.
That's
you know what I mean?
Recently.
And it's really just like touching base with like what do I have time and space for, and honoring that. Honoring my word has brought me so much balance and solace, and like trusting the process and surrendering, of course, always, and like identifying my control issues. Like, it's funny, like I got on my little tea paper, it says, what belongs to you shall come to you. And, you know, that's really funny. That came to me like that. Because it's like, just when you get something out of your mind and out of your awareness that can cause a lot of turbulence, there can be these different reminders for that. And I've realized what has been my triggers that bring me off balance. That's brought me balance. To understand what brings me off balance.
Yeah.
You know, and
awareness is the first step.
Really,
you know?
It's awareness and applying it. Applying awareness really has been this year for me. Applying everything I know and utilizing everything I have has been like so important. Yeah, you know, and Naruto and Kid Cudi, you know what I mean? These are really important things as well that have brought me a lot of balance. And making teas, you know, like this one I didn't personally make. Well, I mixed it with other things, but like going back to herbs and like talking to my herbs, having my little plant babies around, you know, nurturing my little cat, Eden, you know, and like all that, all these little things that we do, creating morning routines.
Yeah, I feel like relaxing too, because like one of the things that I feel I forgot for a while too. It's like, and while like, you know, because I was telling you yesterday how it's just like, bro, why did I stay up mad late watching the show? Because I don't do stuff like that all the time. I don't always give myself the space. So I feel like learning how to relax too, and really just being honest. Being honest was really one of the big things. Really big. In the way where it's like, yo, having just knowing what serves and being unattached to the results of how people view me. Yeah. In a way that's like, yo, because like I feel like this year for the longest time it's just like really honoring. I feel like honoring my word really just hit different, and like really sitting with that, because it's just like, yo, you know your value, you know your worth, and like don't let nobody tell you otherwise just because they don't see it, or they may not see it the way that you see it. And it's like, nah, fuck that. And I mean that with the capital F. Fuck that, because it's like, no, it's not. Don't like, because we shrink. I realize how much I shrink myself, and it's like, nah. If you, the passion of 1,000 suns. It's
breaking down walls. Yeah. It's kicking down boxes. Like, you cannot make me fit into a place, and I will not fit into a place that isn't designed for me. Like, you know, to understand that you don't have to be encased in something to be of something. Yeah. You know, and
I feel like no has been a powerful word for me this year.
Good.
Yeah, nah,
Right.
like it's be like, nah, I can't
I
do
love
that right
saying
now.
no.
Nah, that's been hard.
That's been
Excuse me.
this year for me as well, because also like just, years of sorting through people pleasing.
Yeah, I've had that happen so many times where it's just like where it's like I've said no for other people, but for other people, but not no for me.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, like
No,
of
makes
like,
sense.
hey, like I had this one instance, somebody a few different things. It's like, hey man, can we work on this? It's just like, I'm not there yet right now, and it's like I got this big project I'm working on like for next year, right? And like not gonna go too much into the scenario, but like I had like somebody, like a few people, like somebody come up to me and was just like, bro, I don't know if I could do that. And like the thing is that that's hard for me.
Yeah.
Because like I want to see a lot of people win, but like, and there's this thing of like for a long time, it's like I've poured and aligned with so many people's visions. And I've been a supporting player, and at times I haven't really worked on my own. And the times when I work on my own vision, I see like different results. And it's like, I think out of everything this year, it's like that's really been one of the biggest things too. And I say that to everybody as well. It's like, make sure you pour into your cup as much as you pour into other people's cups. Because like because you got to understand where that stems from.
Yeah.
And where it's rooted.
Where's the source? Where's the source of where you get the water? Where's the well?
Yeah.
And how can you resource that and utilize it and evenly distribute it?
And also understand why it's a response to, what is that way of being a response to? Where is it rooted? Because if you're going to identify why it's rooted with being, and why you have like such a service kind of, we can identify why you're service oriented, you can identify the power in it.
Mm-hmm. And you could transmute it. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with this year. I feel like it's bringing, like, to kind of wrap up this podcast and
Are you going to
and
pull a
bring
card?
it in. I'm gonna touch base on them right now.
Okay.
So like to bring it full circle, like what has this, now we touch base on what 2020 has revealed to us.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit about how 2020 was.
Balance.
And always just find a balance. What is your trauma response to shock and these different things, like all of this different stuff that we've unpacked throughout this episode. Now, prior to going live, I pulled 2 cards. One being out of the Power of Surrender deck, and the other one being out of the numerology deck. And
It's one of my lucky numbers.
in the Surrender deck, it came out to surrender to miracles, to be open to miracles occurring in your life, to feel, to know that these events are real, to let go of any resistance and banish any doubt that miracles can happen. So we have seen a complete opposite of what 2020 has brought in a, not in a not so good way. And now I believe it's time for us to understanding that there needs to be, when change happens, when transition is experienced, there are transition periods that aren't going to look pretty, right? But in a way, these are miracles still, that these things have got brought into light, that these deep truths got revealed. And even if they didn't look as aesthetic as you'd like them to, or feel as good, quote unquote, good as you would have liked them to, they were still miracles, and that's not the end of them. And more miracles and transitions can continue to happen. How do we do that? We manifest it. How do we manifest it? We speak it into existence. It's going to happen because I'm saying it's going to happen. You're going to say it's going to happen. If everyone's like, these different things are going to, whatever we focus on grows. Okay? So if we're focusing on the negative aspect and the positive and the pessimistic way of being, that's going to grow in your life. So things are going to continue to go like shitty. If your tire popped, and then all of a sudden, like, you had a rash on your arm and all this other stuff that goes on, like, it's going to continue to happen because you're like, fuck, now I have this. Oh, now I have to deal with this. Like, instead of being like, why do I have a headache right now?
Yeah.
What is my body telling me? Maybe I need to pay more attention to my physical body. Maybe I need some magnesium. Maybe I should look up supplements. Maybe I'm not eating enough good nutrients. Maybe I need some water. You know, and it's like, pay attention to these different things. When you were driving and your tire popped, were you rushing? Were you texting while you were driving? Were you not present while you were driving? Were you not supposed to be at the place that you were going to? Even the trials and tribulations can look a certain way and can still be miracles. Yeah. And it's a part of what you've manifested. So if you want greatness, you want all this stuff, you want peace, you want space and calm place of mind, like, it might not come to you when you think it's going to. It might not come to you the way you think it's going to look. But it will absolutely come to you. Keep speaking it into existence. Write it down. Write it everywhere. Say it out loud. Going back to circle it to the mantras.
There's also with a mantra, and it just came up, and I'm glad you said that. Everything takes an equivalent exchange. There's always going to be a sacrifice. So you're always choosing into something. So what are you willing to give for what you want to get?
Mm-hmm. What are you ready to sacrifice to make space for all of the things that you've been waiting for? Like, shout out to Full Metal Alchemist. Yeah. Like, Edward Elric. Like, what is it that you want? And absolutely, create a vision board. Write it down. Speak it into existence. Oh, you know what I'm going to do next year? Be happy. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to manifest abundance. I'm going to be open to creating beauty in everywhere I go. Facts. And, like, that's like, it's what you're affirming. It's what you're affirming. Like, I literally just got my hair done yesterday, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to bring beauty into my life, and I'm going to bring a lightness into my headspace because my hair is naturally dark, and I could be a person that naturally hangs out in the yin a lot more than the yang. So I was like, let me like bring some lightness into my space, and I affirm that I will not allow any of my awareness, because awareness is a double-edged sword. Yeah. So I will not allow my awareness of the state of the world and of the depth of humanity not hinder me from the kindness that wants to be expressed in my heart. And I affirm that everywhere I go and everything I do, I will create beauty in that area. I will create beauty in the darkest places. I will create beauty where beauty already exists. I will go and give water back to an ocean because that is what I affirm in my life. That is what I affirm in 2021. And that's how I feel. And that's what I'm working on manifesting. So I highly recommend for you work on and think about what you want to manifest. I'm not really sure what next week's episode's going to be, but I just wanted to, you know, it kind of came into alignment for Jah and I to come on here and talk about 2020 together. And I think it's just really beautiful because...
I say, think about this, though, too, right? You got me on your podcast.
Yeah,
think about
exactly.
Think about, like, you know, like a year ago. That's wild. We'll talk later.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was thinking about it earlier, how I originally asked Jah to be one of my podcast hosts.
Yeah,
is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking about that earlier. I was like, I was looking up content yesterday, and I found the episode that you and I recorded in my crib. I had originally asked Jah to be...
Was that like one? That was like a year ago, right?
It was a little bit, no, it was like a year and a half, maybe. It was like in the summertime, I want to say. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Because I was already recording by now, I think.
No, it was like you were recording, but it was like, you know, it was after. It was like last year. Trust me.
I trust you.
Yeah.
Yo, either way.
I remember.
But yeah, no, for real. I don't think about that. Yeah, like it's wild, you know, and it's like everything happened as it was supposed to, and all the progressions happened as they were supposed to, and like I'm just really grateful, man, like for you to be on here and like talk about 2020 with me and like everything that we've experienced separately and collectively through 2020 and been able to like integrate about and be like, yo, this is my week, this is my day, this is how I feel, this is what I learned from it, this is what I'm leaving behind, this is what I'm walking towards. And like those kind of friendships and dynamics are so valuable and And I treasure that. So thank you for coming on to this podcast. Thank you for being you, for doing the work that you do, for being a pinnacle voice and a person of expression in Staten Island for the creative community, you know, for to be exactly who you are and to continue to allow the divinity to speak through you in whatever medium it comes through, whether that be art or photography or DJing or, you know, coming on to a podcast and saying the things that you need to say, you know, speaking in places that need the voice to be heard and always, always, always holding down Staten Island the way you hold down Staten Island. You know, before Mr. Superstar got viral, he always held down Staten Island. He always held down Staten Island. Just so you know, this has been a thing he's always done. So if you just learning about Ja, learn yourself something that he has always been a voice, and he has always he got me to go upstairs and hub on what from Staten with Love.
The second one,
yeah,
right?
he got me
Part
to go
two.
up there. I was like, you know what, Ja, I don't think I'm gonna do it. Like, and he's like, listen, take a breath. You know what I'm saying? I know you got this. Like, just go up there. And that was one of the first. That was probably the second time I ever talked on a microphone.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Look
So
at
like,
you now.
look at the growth.
To see you.
No, I'm like, come on my podcast. Like, come on, yes. Like, I'm so excited about it. So thank you. And know that,
thank you.
what you do does not go unnoticed. Even if people don't know how to express it, you know, we're all kind of just like emotionally in different spaces and express in different ways.
You
but
got me turtling up.
I'll look you in your eyes and I'll tell you how to express this love intensely with my chest. Because that's who I am. That's who you are too. So, like, it's your turn to turtle right now. Live.
Oh, man, live. Just out here like, oh. Thanks.
So thank you, everybody who tuned in. Thank you to everybody who listened, you know, who has listened live on Instagram, on Facebook, on any of the platforms that this will be on in the future, at any time that you do tune into this. Thank you so much for taking the time to find your balance with us, because that's what this show is all about, is to tune in not only with the podcast, not only with me and with our guests, but to tune in with yourself and to create space for you to give yourself whatever it is that you need to recalibrate and to find balance. So, yeah, that's our 2020 wrap up.
Hey, I hope you have a happy new year. And like by that, I mean, whatever, when I say that you have a happy new year, I mean that whatever the year is to you, because understand that you have a world within yourself, and that you are the experience the world is yours, because no one sees the world in your perspective. And that I hope that your year is abundant. I hope that your year is like everything you wanted to create, and that you truly manifest what serves you and understand what serves you.
You deserve to, and you are so capable of doing it too. You just gotta believe it.
Yeah.
You just gotta believe it. Like, out of all the cards in the deck, Surrender to Miracles and Manifestation came up. So it's like, you know, it's literally, it's up to you. It's up to you to just decide.
You just
whatever
gotta believe it.
Believe yourself. Believe in you. Believe in your power.
Dabato.
So,
yeah.
Thank you, and see you next week, 10:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Jamata.
Have a great day.